May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out.
Hey guys, it's DCHL Devin.
I'm DCHL Jake.
And welcome to another episode of A Light in the Dark. And today we bring you a special episode with this meaningless 40k background.
Pay attention to this.
We're at Jake's house right now, and we just got back from a Canadian tournament where we managed to pick up this. This is the new profile book. We are extremely excited to review this and get this out there. Guys, we're going to be talking about the profiles of all of these models. Now, there's like 30 of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. So we're going to save your sanity and probably just talk about them in segments. So
yeah, we're not going to cover everything at once.
Really, actually, I think we're saving our sanity because they're probably like, we're just
Don't
gonna
give us everything.
We're just paying. Keep talking. So not everyone has this book at this point.
Yeah, true.
So today, though, we're going to go over Iron Hill's Dwarves, and actually, I guess Erebor Reclaimed.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called, right?
Yeah, Erebor Reclaimed, guys, if you don't know, is the champions of Erebor, but they can now lead Iron Hill's Dwarves with the exception of the Chariots and the Ballista.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go over the profiles, and of course, in future videos, we'll hit Evil and all the old profiles. A lot of you guys don't know, and I didn't even know. There's even like Thorin and Thrain got an update. Yeah, Dale got an update.
They got appendices armies now.
Yeah. For those of you guys who have looked through this book but didn't decide to turn past the profiles, go past the profiles. You're going to see scenarios. Go past those, and you're going to see more profiles. It's like J. Claire's secret little like you thought that was the end. And
it's the after scene credits.
It is. It's pretty much the end credits. Guys, stay to the end of the book. There's an end credits scene. So we didn't even know that for the first 8 hours of holding the book. All right, guys.
That's funny.
So let's get into it. We got first Thorin Oak and Shield. Now, guys, I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm actually going to skim really over these guys. Most of them didn't really change.
Yeah, like one or two took a big turn, but that's about it.
So we get to Thorin Oak and Shield. The big change we see on him, I believe, is a point cost increase. Slight, very slight. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, he has an option for a War Goat. We love War Goats. We'll get to exactly what those do once we get to the Rams, or the War Goat Riders. I guess Goat Riders.
They're like, Goat Riders.
I'll have to actually see what their official name is.
Do they ride something different than the Ram Riders?
No, same thing.
Oh, okay.
So he gets a War Goat. Other than that, basically, we're talking about a Thorin Oak and Shield that is a lot more effective. Mm-hmm. So just because he can be mounted, that's huge. And they move 8 inches, guys, just so you know. Exactly kind of what we would have expected. Next, we got Killy and Philly. Now, I don't remember 100% if this was the case. I'm pretty sure they had 2 might before. Now they have 3 each. If that's the case that they had it before, I'm kind of wondering why I never played them before, but I never really... Or maybe because they couldn't lead anything, and if you didn't play a Champions of Erebor list, why take them?
Yeah.
But they have 3 might now. Otherwise, once again, War Goat options for both. Now, here's the weird part. These are a copy and paste profile. They literally have the same profile, just with a name swap. So, not a bad thing, but if you're wondering, oh wait, no, Killy has a bow, which I believe you said. Mm-hmm. Nope, Philly has it too.
And he has the same shoot value as well.
Yeah, there's nothing different about him. So, not a bad thing. I'm okay with their profile, like it's a great profile, so I'm not mad at that. Very competitive profile, and I think that it works with what you see in the movies and what you expect. So,
yeah, exactly that.
So, what do we got for, let's see here, Balin, pretty much exactly what you expect from the old Champions of Erebor Dwarf. I don't think anything changed here.
Did he jump him in attack, or no? He's already
Nope. Actually, yeah, he might have jumped an attack. I believe he was 1 attack before, but now he's 2. So, that's a new change for him. Actually, that's good. And you'll see why, because of Jake's favorite unit benefits from this extra attack. And so, yeah, now it's like, wait, what is that? Skip to the 30-minute mark. We'll get there.
So, at 45-16, we'll get there.
Yeah, we know in the future when we'll be there. So, next we got Dwalin. Once again, War Goat option. Mm-hmm. So, if you didn't like Dwalin before, you were crazy. 1. Quit SPG.
Just stop it. Just stop.
But now we're talking about an even stronger Dwalin. Who can ride a goat as well, so he gets knockdown bonuses and all that such. Otherwise, same Dwalin we are used to. Unless
I'm looking at this. Why does Dwalin have a shoot value of 3?
He's wondering why he has a shoot value of 3, guys.
It's like a berserker.
He might have throwing axes.
A berserker has a shoot value.
He used to have throwing axes. So first off, guys, for throwing values, it really doesn't really matter. A lot of models have shoot values.
Yeah.
And even Adam Troke says this in the book. It's just for if in case for some reason he'll be able to shoot something one day.
I guess.
Who knows? Maybe a scenario. So then you got Biffer. Now Biffer, the main change is he, instead of his brother pulling the axe out of his head, now he can choose to make a special strike instead of striking as normal if he wins a fight. And he is able to bash his head into the opponent. And if he does that, then the axe comes out if he wounds.
And he does not take a wound.
He doesn't take one. Actually, that was actually a fantastic little addition.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more risk involved, a lot more effort involved to take the axe out, but no penalty.
Yep.
And then you get free heroic actions.
And I mean, what's cooler than headbutting someone with a solid chunk of steel in your head?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like all dwarves should fight that.
And then why not? They don't need their hands, they got their foreheads.
Other than that, he's a pretty solid profile. Now remember, guys, all these guys that we're naming are able to lead Iron Hill's dwarves now. So that's a fantastic...
Awesome
you almost can think of this as a bunch of awesome captains.
So good.
So then we got Buffer. Buffer, same as you'd expect from the old series.
Mm-hmm.
He's exactly... Nothing really changed about him. Bomber, same thing. I don't think anything has really changed. The only thing I noticed here is that he's defense 7 now. I don't know if he was defense 8 before, but you can look in your books, follow me along. I didn't have the old book, the Battle 5 Armies. It's a PDF. Well,
no, I actually have it. I just don't have it.
No, well, they can see it. You guys can see it. He's defense 7 now. So, other than that, he's kind of what you expect. He's a cheap hero, though. Mm-hmm. Very cheap. In fact, cheapest, I believe. Nope, one's cheaper, and that's Ori.
Yeah, the only reason I can think of the drop in defense is he's got a lot of things sticking out.
Yeah, maybe there's a lot of weak spots because the armor doesn't fit him properly. It was weird to see him with like one less defense than the rest of them. Ori has the same situation where he has one less defense, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't changed. He's actually exactly as he always was. Once again, maybe he's younger, so his armor isn't more regal.
Yeah.
So, then you have Nori. Now, Nori actually did change, and I believe drastically.
For the good, though.
Yeah, for the better. Well, not drastically. I shouldn't say that. Most of his stats are pretty much exactly what you expect, same as always. But the thing is, he has this new rule called Weapon Synergy. And Weapon Synergy, essentially he's able to reroll 1 dice to win a duel, and reroll 1 dice when he makes strikes. Now, what I'm looking at here is if you have him near Oin, who is also able to make you reroll dice, and if you have him near a banner, which also makes you reroll dice, that is 3 separate rules, and this guy has 3 attacks. So the problem of can't reroll a reroll doesn't come into really too much play here. You're talking about he gets 3 rerolls if he's around all of them.
He gets to reroll, and then somebody makes him reroll.
Yeah.
But then so he can re-roll. Yeah.
Owen can make him re-roll one of the die. He can re-roll it personally, and then the banner re-rolls it. So that's 3 different abilities making you re-roll the dice. Effectively giving you like 6 dice just with him alone.
On top of the re-roll to
win the fight.
Right.
Yes, and then he gets the re-roll to wound. However, banners obviously in Orange don't affect that, but he does get the re-roll to wound, effectively giving 4 attempts to wound, though of course a 3 wound maximum. So we actually like that.
That's like 4 re-rolls. That's impressive.
Yes, it's a lot. It's very impressive little stat line. I like him. So,
and has he always had 3 attacks?
He's always had 3 attacks, I believe. He's been a more combat version hero. If he didn't have 3 attacks, because in Thorin's company's profile, he actually has a club, but 2-handed, and he has Burly. So he was more of a heavy hitter in the fact that he could get +1 to all his rune rolls. Now he still has effectively Burly, but he doesn't have a 2-handed weapon. So that kind of sucks. But he can never be unarmed. So I guess if you have a Gundabad Shaman who shatters you, you don't have that problem. So other than that, though, that's the new rule he has. Then you have Dory. Dory hasn't really changed. Pretty much exactly as we expect. And guys, if you're hearing a lot of hasn't really changed, these guys really didn't need changes. They were actually pretty good profiles.
They were really good.
Just small tweaks here and there. Oin, once again, did not change. Gloin did not change. He's still exactly as you remember him. I think maybe he had throwing axes before. I'm not sure, but now he doesn't. But other than that, he did not change. Now let's get into Dain Ironfoot. Now Dain Ironfoot's kind of a weird one because he's actually been out there for a while. But we're still going to cover him anyway. For those of you who didn't know, Forge World released the rules for Dain. So this is the new Dain unit. Guys, we're talking about, he's a pretty solid point count. I'll say it that. If you guys don't know, I will actually just say it because it's online, it's available, it's 140 points. And he is 6 fight, strength 5, 8 defense, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 7. So 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. In fact, I'm probably just going to post this up on the screen because you guys can see it. You see here, he's got a Warbore option for 20 points. He's burly, fearless. I mean, this guy is insanely powerful in the stat line wise. I've actually already heard reports. People have actually already had trouble dealing with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Because the boar, the boar is already D6, and it's 2 wounds.
Yes. So, he's hard to dismount in that way. I mean, I guess you could hurl through him.
Yeah, maybe.
But otherwise, yeah, very difficult to dismount. His boar is 6 defense. So, then you got the Iron Hills, Lord of the Iron Hills. He's basically, makes everyone fearless. All Iron Hills fearless within 12 inches of him. He's got Fiery Temper, which is essentially, as soon as he kills an enemy model, he has to charge for the rest of the game. That's the key weakness he has. But he only has to charge. He doesn't have to charge the closest thing.
So, one other thing, he comes with a 2-handed hammer, which means you can bash.
Yes.
So that's important because if your opponent throws a mook at you, you don't have to kill him.
Yes, that is actually extremely...
You bash him and you just knock him over.
So if you're not trying to make him go crazy...
Yeah, well, it's so your opponent can't goad you into turning him berserk and all of a sudden control your own model. You choose when he goes berserk.
And actually, speaking of which, the fact that he has Bash, usually I don't rate Bash very highly, but you're talking about a Strength 5 Dwarf, and he gets +1 to that because he's burly, he can go two-handed. So he gets +1 to his Bash roll, and he's already pretty strong. You might be able to knock down a Fell Beast.
True.
Maybe so. Because a Fell Beast is already 1 above you, but because you get that +1, now you just have to tie him or beat him, it's his roll. And you have Might.
Wow, that's funny.
He can knock down Fell Beasts. Yeah, he can bring him down. You guys sick of Ed Ball's armies? Take this guy. No, I don't know. Ed Ball probably already figured out a way around this.
He's like, yeah, that's funny.
He's like the you're cute guys.
Adorable.
Then,
my favorite part.
Fearsome Charge.
That's not my favorite part.
Yeah, no, well, we'll get to his favorite. Fearsome Charge, basically when he charges into battle, he causes terror. And Headbutt.
That's my favorite part.
If Dain wins a fight and but fails to slay his opponent, select one man-sized model or smaller in the fight and roll a d6. On a 5-up, Dain will headbutt that model to the ground. And next time she's knocked to the ground. So... It's actually like a funny gimmick. After you failed to kill someone, you're like, you know what? Like, you're done. Stop. But other than that...
Funny.
Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the note about what a man-sized model is. We had a discussion about a man-sized model. So, other than that, very terrifying unit. Even the ability where he has to charge all the time. If you're a very effective player, you can keep this guy, like, into the corner of a map, and you can keep him maybe from ever exiting the board in Reconnoiter. So I think that weakness can be exploited to make him a lot weaker than people think.
Yeah.
I personally feel that way. I really think if he's on an objective marker, you're doing it wrong. I feel like... now, see, the thing is, you got to get him off the board, of course, so that way he doesn't have more available targets. But overall, I think you can lead him away from stuff. I have to playtest that. I haven't actually playtested him because the Canadian tournament we just went to excluded the new rules.
Yep.
So, we're going to go past him, though, because all of you guys know him. To the Iron Hills Captain. Now, this one is awesome.
Yeah.
Here, you can have the honor.
All right, so,
Well, don't say... So we're not going to say the points here.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not saying points. I'm
He's
saying...
hefty, though.
Yeah,
I'll say that. He's hefty for a captain.
He's a good point cost. Your standard profile, move 5, 5, strength 4, d8, 2, 2, 5, 2, 1, 1, blah, blah, blah. It comes with a war spear, which is essentially a lance, I believe.
It's a lance that turns into a spear when he's on foot.
Yeah. He does come with the option to take a war goat, and they're actually doing this this new thing where it says they can exchange the war spear for a shield and a mattock. If you don't know what a mattock is, it's what Grimhammers have.
Yes, it's exactly a Grimhammer. Yep.
But we've seen it a lot in the book. They're doing this new exchange thing, so you can't just stack a lot of war gear on them and they have a lot of options. You have to actually take stuff away and then give it back to them.
I like that personally.
Yeah.
You can no longer have these supercharged units with everything.
Yeah.
equipped.
So
Also note, he does have a shield, and he's defense 8. That's very important for another specific role.
Yeah. So the shield wall is the same rule as the regular Iron Ores. When you're in base contact, you get +1 to your defense. So all of a sudden, this guy shoots up to defense 9, which is impressive for a captain.
Yeah, exactly. You're like a dwarven lord at that point.
Yeah.
Yet,
but you also get this other thing that dwarven lords
this is huge.
wish they had.
Way unexpected.
So it's called tactical awareness, and when an enemy model within 6 inches calls a heroic action, any heroic action, roll a d6, and on a 5+, this captain can immediately call the same heroic action without expending might.
He gets basically a slightly depowered master of battle. But
Really?
That is awesome.
Really?
That's great. That's fantastic. Guys, normally captains don't get anything. There was no way I was expecting a captain to have anything more than what you had just heard before that rule. But the fact that he gets this gimmick ability...
It's not even a gimmick. It's a 1 in 3 chance for it to happen. And if you have 4 captains, I'm going to call heroic fight.
No.
My 4 dudes are going to call heroic fights.
Here's the problem. At that point cost that he is, you may not see 4 of them, maybe 2, but if you want to try to spam them out, 4, you might be able to pull it off.
I just want an army of just 30 of them.
These guys who copy your actions. He's like...
I'm going to roll 16 dice who's copying what.
So, we actually like this captain a lot.
Oh, he's fantastic.
It gives him... You know what I think this is? I think it's because all the champions of Erebor can already lead troops. Why take a captain?
True. This is a reason to take a captain.
Yes, and I really think that is where this came from, and I think they did a good job because that actually makes him stand out from the rest of the champions of Erebor. And well, if you're playing just the Iron Hills, then you got to have these guys by default because otherwise Dain's your only option. Yeah. But even then, that makes the army very unique.
They're not a bad choice. This is a captain that you're not going to want to just look over.
Nope.
And he's not one that you can ignore like other people's captains.
I think this is a fantastic option for a captain.
Good.
So after that, we start getting to elves. I'm going to skip the elves because today it's all about dwarves. And then we get to some Lake Town, and we're going to skip them. And by the way, Lake Town became amazing.
Oh my goodness, they're so good.
Wait till we get to that video.
You're going to enjoy that video a lot. If you think I have laughed in other videos, I might die when I read it. It's awesome.
You can fight with children. It's a cliffhanger.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
Alright.
So, next we get to the Iron Hills Dwarf. And with the Iron Hills Dwarf, it's actually a little bit different than what you've seen online. He's slightly lower in cost. But essentially, he doesn't get the spear automatically. It just starts with a sword and a shield. Shield comes by default. Very important.
Yes.
And then we get to what you were talking about.
So they come with the shield wall. Again, it's the same rule, but you now get to the more exchanging of war gear. So you can exchange your shield for a mattock. It's the same thing Grimhammers have. Not quite sure why you do that.
So here's the thing. Ultimately, Iron Hills dwarves do not. They start with swords, not picks. And maybe you might want to pick
the piercing strike. Okay.
Maybe you. Sorry.
But don't they just turn into Grimhammers at that point?
Well, keep in mind, it's also a two-handed weapon. Mattocks are two-handed weapons.
Yeah.
So you're actually giving your guy a two-handed weapon. That's the more important part. Now, here's the thing, though. It's just what you said. They become Grimhammers.
Yeah.
They literally are a Grimhammer with like a swap in it from, so you get basically 4 strength, but then lose the throwing weapons. Now, you might think the Grimhammers are disappearing because of that. I think they're just going to change because Grimhammer is mentioned later in the book in Army lists.
So the next thing they can exchange is they can exchange their shield for a crossbow.
Crossbowmen.
Dwarven crossbowmen.
Guys, these crossbows, if Games Workshop doesn't make them exactly like they did in Weta Workshop.
Oh my goodness.
You have not seen them in the movie.
Oh my goodness.
We didn't see the movie. Alright, so I'm going to try to get a picture of these things up on the screen here.
I might be able to help with that.
And they're stake launchers. Like giant telephone poles that they like hold like this. So
they are the greatest thing. They're called. I believe they were called boar spit.
The Ballista.
The Ballista crossbow.
Yes.
It is fantastic, and I will be so disappointed if when the models are released they don't look. I don't want to see a dwarven crossbow looking like an Urkak. I don't want to see this. The thing in the front. No. It has to be this.
They have these two like tusks underneath. And by the way, Weta Workshop made a functioning design. They actually used these. They made 20 of them. We actually found this in a Weta Workshop concept book, and they have 20 of these, and they're great. They're awesome. These things look awesome. They're fantastic.
Wait till you see the picture. It's fantastic.
So we're really hoping they come out looking like that, because if you guys know the current unreleased miniatures version, you didn't look at the concept art because they look exactly like a normal crossbow.
It's just a regular crossbow. And it's a little underwhelming.
When you see the Weta Workshop design.
Yeah.
So,
before they were great, but once you see what the crossbow's supposed to look like,
you're like, guys, please look at some pictures.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
So good.
Anyway, so
next.
They can exchange shield for a crossbow, by the way, guys, so they can't be part of your shield wall.
Yeah.
They actually can never get a crossbow on top.
So the other two options, you can take a spear. You don't have to exchange anything for that.
Yep.
You just take it, and then a banner. Those are their 4 options.
Of course. And here I'm looking at, even for the crossbowman, this is the first Defense 6 crossbow that we have. So that's key. Yes, some of you guys might mention the Arbalists, but they're not actually Defense 6, and they're terrible anyway.
Yeah, they're not good.
So, yeah, these are better.
You take these every time.
Because once you get into combat with them, you're still dealing with an Uruk-hai stat.
You're still dealing with a dwarf.
So...
you're dealing with an Uruk-hai Berserker as well, kind of Berserker. He only has 2 attacks.
An Uruk-hai. Yeah. So... I actually really love these guys. These guys are fantastic. You're talking about
No, I said fantastic, but you said it at the same time.
Yeah, you owe me a Coke.
We connected. Crap.
DCHO, we connect.
Yeah, on a molecular level? Spiritual.
So next we got the Iron Hills Goats. They are officially called Goat Riders, so all of you calling it Ram Rider, you're wrong.
Stop it.
So, I think I was guilty of that somewhat.
I was too.
So, these guys are a hefty amount of points, kind of similar to what you would see in a Dual Hammer Off Knight. And Dual Hammer Off Knight fully loaded.
Yes.
And not with a banner. So
they come with banners. It's field
these
banners.
guys are like 50 points. No. Alright, so basically, they're exactly the same stats as the Iron Hills Dwarf. With the exception that they don't come with shields by default. So they have War Spears, once again, a lance that becomes a spear. Guys, if you're wondering why the War Spear, why have it flipped, it's because I don't want them spear sporting each other.
Makes sense.
And then the War Goat. So War Goat, movement 8, fight 2, which doesn't matter really, because they have 0 attacks, so they run away anyway. Strength 4, defense 5, that's very good.
Yes.
So they're armored up. And courage 3. So... the options, you may exchange your War Spear for a Mattock, which means you can get some 2-handed weapons in there. Why you would want that, I have no idea, considering you already had a thing that gives it to you for free if you charge. Yeah, I guess you can do it when you get charged, but...
Maybe?
It's free. So,
yeah.
And then you get a banner. Now, here's the cool part. They have Mountain Dwellers. Which means that, what does that mean, actually?
Can't they make jump?
I think it's climb and jump test. Yeah, it's the same thing as, no, they have Cave Dweller, though. The Goblins. I think Mountain Dweller means they can do climb tests and jump tests, or maybe it just means they ignore rocky terrain. Maybe they can't climb stuff.
Well, we saw them climb a vertical surface.
Yeah, but I forgot what it is in the actual game.
It's got to be.
You guys can look that up, but they have Mountain Dweller.
Yeah.
So I believe it's not the climb test one. Cave Dweller's the climb test one. Yeah. It's Mountain Dweller one. I really think it's just simply the other version.
+1 to jump test.
Or maybe it's included. Not sure.
Ooh,
but
Mountain Dweller's just better.
I should look that up. It'd be awesome if you could climb stuff. Devastating Charge. So, with this model charges into combat against one or more man-sized models or smaller, roll a d6 for each, and on a 5-up, that model is immediately knocked to the ground.
Before the fight happens, that's important.
Exactly. So, the model might not even get a chance to strike you. So, this is actually fantastic against guys like Boromir and anything like that, because now it's like they can't knock to the ground. Keep in mind that even Thorin and Dwalin and all them can ride these things, so even they get these type of bonuses. I think that is awesome. Now, of course, when you win the fight, if they're not knocked to the ground, now they are, but the fact that you can do it pre-combat is amazing.
It saves you from losing the fight and then losing your pig.
Pretty much. Your pig? Yeah. The goat.
The goat. And did I miss something?
Nope, that's it. Actually, there's nothing.
The War Spear.
They describe the War Spear and what exactly it does. But yeah, other than that, that's... those are the basic Iron Hills units. And now we get into 2 pages of goodness.
We gotta stretch for this one.
Man.
Okay.
I'm gonna
You need some water?
Yeah, I need
some water?
I need a drink before I get into this one.
All right.
So, Here's the thing. This guy's long, so hopefully you guys are you're painting and just listening to us.
Yeah, you don't mind just listening to our voices.
So, this is the Iron Hills Chariot. All right? Hefty point cost. This is appropriate to what we've said in previous videos.
It really is.
In fact, it's exactly, I think, what we've said in previous videos. We guessed it first. So, if you guys want latest content, watch Andreas and then us. Because he gets it out first. So,
all right.
So basically, here's what we're looking at. All right, he's movement. Well, okay, so he's got a chariot crew. The crew are Iron Hills Dwarves. All right, Iron Hills Dwarves, defense 6. They don't have shields.
Go ahead, hold on. Your arm get tired.
No, I'm good.
No?
And here's the Iron Hill Chariot. All
All
right. He wants to hold the book as well. We'll connect with the book. So here's the chariot, guys. This chariot is movement 8, fight 4. All right. Now that's key because that means swapping stats doesn't mean anything there. All right. Strength 4, defense 8. All right. So that's good. 2 attacks.
The chariot itself has 2 attacks.
It's very key. Now you're gonna think, oh, so that means the chariot sticks around even if all the crew dies. Well, no, it doesn't. But that still is important. So then it has 5 wounds. So it's 8 defense, 5 wounds. Attacking the chariot is basically attacking a wall.
So big, giant, painful wall.
So, but there is still reason to do so.
There is. There is.
Courage 3. So that is the stats of the chariot. Then we are onto options. Unfortunately, not as many as a mummic.
It's got 2 of them.
But you can get an Iron Hills captain, which replaces a driver.
Which you do every time.
If you have the points for it, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. And then you have the Champions of Erebor, which just replaces the whole crew.
Yes.
And pretty much your army.
Yeah. Although it is an army in and of itself.
Yeah, guys, I mean, we can get into them. They're I won't say the points necessarily, but they are an army, essentially. They're pretty much almost an average point list, almost. So, and they probably can take on a list larger than them.
Oh yeah, well actually, hopefully we plan on testing that out later.
Yeah. I'll give a hint. We're testing it in a 600-point tournament. It's not that many points, but we think it can beat that many points.
I think I'll be good.
So, it's close to it, though. Yep. So, Dwarven crew. The Iron Hills Chariot has 4 crew members. As crew are slain, the Iron Hills Dwarves move to take their place atop the chariot. Now, let me say that again.
Just in case you missed it.
Because I did.
Yeah, we got took a double take on that one.
The Iron Hills Chariot has 4 crew members. As crew members are slain, other Iron Hills Dwarves move to take their place atop the chariot.
Back to 4.
That means you can keep replenishing this thing with your troops.
That's why killing the troops is almost pointless.
Hence why I said you probably still want to attack the brick wall or the steel wall. Because that at least won't be replaced. So, that gives a good reason to really attack both.
Unless you got to renew somewhere in your
You essentially have to attack both of them. So when does that happen? Any Iron Hills Dwarf warrior may replace a slain crew member by ending their move phase in base contact with the chariot. Any Iron Hills Dwarf warrior who joins the chariot immediately drops their spear, shield, mattock, or crossbow. So essentially, all they have to do is just move 5 inches toward the chariot, and then there you go. You got a new crew member replenished. Good and new.
So good.
I do not think that counts for captains, despite the fact that you can start with one. In fact, it does not. Iron Hills Dwarves. Yeah, warrior. It's got to be a warrior.
Oh, that would be so good. It's just the thing of captains.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Jay Clare thought around that one.
Oh.
So, should the driver be killed, another Iron Hills Dwarf on the chariot immediately takes the place. Any chariot that has all of its crew slain and is removed as a the chariot.
Casualty.
Yeah, is removed as casualty. Sorry, any chariot that has all of its crew slain is removed as casualty. You kill all the crew at once, and the chariot will die. So if you do manage to surround it with enough, then you can just slaughter the entire crew. That is actually harder than it sounds.
And we'll get to that in a minute, but it's not easy to kill 4d6 dwarves.
4d6 dwarves that, by the way... On this thing, yeah. So, so next we get to the rapid fire bolt thrower. Guys, essentially this just fires d6 shots. These d6 shots don't have in the way rolls for firing into its own combat. They can do it without penalty, even no matter how far they've actually moved. And they can fire into their own combats. They can
they don't take the set -1 for moving.
Yep. Oh, they only fire a limited field of view of 45 degrees. So essentially what you're talking about is if you get behind the chariot on the sides of the chariot, it cannot fire at you. And that's actually important. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out what 45 degrees is, they actually included a template in the back of the book. Because Jay Clare's a nice guy like that. So, we'll only show the book. So, essentially, after that, the chariot can still shoot even if it's engaged in combat. Obviously, and does not need in the way tests. So when you fire this weapon, however, the dwarf firing it, he does not contribute his attacks to the fight. So that's a hint to later on stuff.
Yes.
So essentially, D6 shots it's a crossbow. So you're essentially, I almost akin it to, since you have like just normal dwarf crew on it, you're just giving him D6 attacks rather than his amount.
Yeah. So it's almost always beneficial with just the warrior to shoot the crossbow.
Yeah, if you replace him with the crew of Erebor, then
don't shoot the crossbow.
Yeah, not in combat.
Not in combat anyway. You'll see why.
So next we get to the chariot charge. Now this is actually probably one of the more complicated movement systems here.
Yeah.
At the start of the move phase, the controlling player may pivot the chariot up to 45 degrees. When pivoting, the chariot may touch models or terrain. In the case of models, move them out of the way, shortest possible distance. And in the case of terrain, you actually move the chariot the shortest possible distance. The chariot may then move up to 4 inches in a straight line. Once it has moved a full 4 inches, it may pivot a further 45 degrees. Then you move another 4 inches. So, we're talking about an 8-inch move, but an extremely static one. Guys, armies that are highly mobile, like cavalry, will easily get around this thing. And it's not going to be too difficult. So, it really is meant for, like, infantry killers, I would think. Maybe if you have more than one, you could probably play a chess game with it, but...
Yeah.
So, the chariot can only move in straight lines, obviously. Any model that the chariot comes into base contact with when it's moving immediately suffers 3 strength 6 hits.
That does not include the pivot.
That does not, it doesn't include the pivot.
When you pivot, anything you touch does not get hurt.
But when you're moving in that straight line, everything does. Now keep in mind though, it says any model, which means it actually makes no distinction between friendly and enemy models.
Which would make sense. If you get hit by a semi, it doesn't matter if you made the semi.
Analogies by Jake. The semi does not care about its owner. The thing is, what that means is you could effectively bubble wrap this thing if you want to. A lot of Mimic players do that kind of strategy. I wouldn't bubble wrap it with your expensive dwarves, though.
Yeah.
You'd put children in front of them. Lake Towners. So...
It's like, what are you using my men for? Bubble wrap.
We need bubble wrap to the front of this chariot.
Strap Lake Towners to the front. It's not funny.
Guys, this is not appropriate.
Don't laugh about.
So, the chariot may instead choose to forego its movement in order to pivot in any direction.
So that is one thing. So we were talking about it. Mobile armies can get around it, yeah. But if you do the complete pivot, if you're a mobile army, if you're a full cav army, you're not going to have that many models. So you're going to pivot. You're still going to have a repeating crossbow shoot at you. So, yeah, you won't really get run over by it, but your army will get whittled down, and you're still going to have to fight it. Like,
yes,
you have to fight this thing.
Shooting back at it's not going to do anything.
No, they're going to laugh.
A lot. Probably as much as Jake during this video.
Not as much as the Lake Town video, I promise.
So, here next we got Chariot in combat. Essentially, the chariot counts as one model in a fight. Any surviving crew member that is not driving the chariot not driving, so very key, adds their attacks to the duel roll. So additionally, the chariot will use the highest fight of any dwarf that's on the chariot, including the driver. So that's important if you upgrade it.
Which is funny. Somehow, the driver is helping everyone fight, but he's not fighting.
It's his leadership.
You're swinging wrong, Jeremy.
Swing this way.
Turn the sword around.
If the chariot... So basically what we're talking about here is the chariot has 2 attack space. Now, you don't get the driver, but you get the other crew, which means that in the fight, you actually have 5 attacks.
That's if you don't charge.
If you don't charge, because obviously it's going to have charging bonuses we haven't gotten to yet. But what that means in the sense of the Champions of Erebor is you get a ridiculous number of attacks.
A lot.
Yeah. So we'll get to them. If beaten, any model wishing to strike the crew must see if they even hit the crew. On a 4+, they hit the crew member.
No. 4. Oh no, 4+. Yeah, you're right.
On 4+, they hit the crew member. And otherwise, they hit the chariot. Now, what Jake was thinking I was talking about is when you shoot at the chariot.
No, 4+. It's...
No. So when you shoot at the chariot, it counts as a monstrous mount.
That's right, shooting.
So you actually have a 5+ when you're shooting at it.
We actually figured that out on the drive, and I still forgot it.
It's 2 different values. So when you're in combat, you actually get a better chance. But that's even more difficult now to hit the crew.
Yeah.
So you're spending all this effort trying to assassinate crew members, and you can't even do it.
And there's still a 50% chance that you don't hit them.
Yeah, and then they're defense 6, and then even after you're done, more guys are like, oh, let me jump on that, it's fun.
That looks like fun. I want to ride.
Great. Great. I mean, ultimately, it's really difficult to kill the crew. Despite defense 8, I almost would go for it. It's going to be tough. But let's see what more rules this thing has to throw at us.
No, you gotta
so, I of course will. On a turn in which the Iron Hills chariot charges, it gains an extra attack and knocks to the ground bonuses as if it were cavalry. That's key. Because it is cavalry and not monstrous mount, that means even if it charges a monster with strength 6 or more, it still gets its attack bonus, unlike a monstrous mount. Alright, now if you guys don't know about that, that's actually a really obscure rule that a lot of people don't know about. So it'll get the +1 attack, so you actually, on the charge, get 6 attacks to swing at your opponent.
So good.
So then, of course, knock to the ground bonuses. Now, you might think to yourself, all right, well, you know, I guess I can't knock down cavalry. Well, the Iron Hills Chariot still gets these bonuses even if he charges a cavalry model. So he gets all the benefits of being cavalry.
Without the negatives.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take that, nerds.
Yeah, so he obviously can't knock down like a fell beast. But, yeah, he won't be able to do that. But, you know, you'll just send 3 strength, 6 hits at him.
Strength. 6 strength.
3 of them. Well, 6, because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Essentially, it throws 3 on the rider, 3 on the mount. So you'd actually hit the ring wraith with it all, and then 3 strength 6s on the.
Yeah, actually, just this thing running into
this thing alone could kill a fell beast single-handedly, just running right into it.
Blow through it.
If you're a fell beast player and you allow this static moving chariot with your 12-inch fly movement to hit you, you deserve to quit.
Just stop playing.
Just stop playing.
Or
this thing is never hitting a fell beast unless you would have to have gotten into its, like, right in front of it somehow, and then what would end up happening is they lose the challenge to do heroic moving, and then you move first and you just run right into it.
Yeah.
So it's not like, yes, okay, could a competent player probably figured out how to get him in a position where he does that? Yeah, through combats, through transfixing it, through holding it in place, you could probably figure it out. There are ways to slam into a fell beast.
Compel the fell beast. Just walk in front of the train.
Yeah, so don't quit. Actually, just tell your friends not to do, you know, what the mistake that you made. So, anyway, after that, you have the 5+ to hit the shooter, the crew if you're shooting. Mm-hmm. Now, the chariot may not jump, climb, lie down, or defend barriers. However, he also can't enter difficult terrain other than water features. The reason Jake is laughing is because I kind of thought about that for a second. And I'm like, well, how exactly do you find...
Wait, so there's deep water over there.
Yeah, there's deep water. Since they're mounted, technically they get +1 to their roll. Now, the thing that we didn't actually look up yet, and maybe you guys will look it up faster, is do you include all of the crew's heavy armor when applying, okay, can I swim or not? This is really based on cavalry. Mm-hmm. When a Rohan rider runs through the river, does he also apply his heavy armor, or armor and shield? If he does, then this thing is sinking like a brick.
Oh, he only takes -1. No, he's got heavy dwarf armor.
They all have heavy dwarf armor, so they're all getting -3s, which means essentially as soon as you jump into the water, you're going to sink immediately, which is appropriate. But if you don't apply the crew's armor, then you actually have an amphibious assault vehicle, unlike any other.
Is a heavy dwarf armor -3?
It's -3, yeah.
Oh.
It's like very heavy armor. Yeah, I think it's -3. I'm pretty sure. Even if not, you would apply all 4 crew and then...
Yeah, and then you're sinking like rock. But if not, it's like on I think a 1 or a 2, you're not sinking.
You could potentially swim.
Yeah.
Don't put your chariot in deep water, gentlemen.
I wouldn't try it, but just the fact that it
Or look it up first.
Just the fact that it can do it. That's hilarity. You got these 4, these 8, 6.
It probably can't do it. You get -2s. -2's a minimum.
Negative's just a minimum, but +1.
Doesn't matter. We'll look it up. We'll make sure that that's actually the case.
It's so
it can enter water, though, which is important because of the streams.
So fantastic, though.
Next, the chariot cannot be hurled, barged, or knocked to the ground for any reason. That's huge. That is huge. If you guys were thinking in your minds, oh, guys, I just hurl stuff at it, you can't.
Nope.
You can't even surround these guys and trap them. You are going with all the dice that your stats say. And so this is going to be a rough ride. Now, however, there is one saving grace to those of you who want to destroy this thing. The Iron Hill's chariot is immune to any magical power that would prevent it from moving normally. However, these can be directed instead at the model driving the chariot, in which case the chariot will be affected instead. So you can move it, obviously within reason of its own movement, but you can't actually stop it in its tracks. So with magic, actually. So then a Sorcerer's Blast can still inflict damage on the chariot, but it won't move the crew or anything like that. Or its crew. It can fire at the crew, too. So that is kind of a way to take it down, I guess. Not a Sorcerer's Blast. I wouldn't do that all day.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Iron Hill's Captains. If this upgrade is taken for the chariot, then an Iron Hill's Captain will replace the driver. The Captain will have all the usual war gear and special rules that an Iron Captain would normally possess while riding the chariot. The chariot counts as a hero for the Iron Hill's army list and may be taken as their leader.
As a hero.
And they can lead a warband.
Yep.
Too. So you actually get a chariot that leads a warband. So if you guys want to do like this Imperial Guard tank army, you can. And you can take like an Iron Hill's chariot with a tank commander leading other tanks.
So good.
It's going to be awesome.
So just remember that, though. The Iron Hill's captain retains all of his rules. So he still has the ability to copy heroic actions that are called around him.
Yep.
So your chariot could do a heroic fight and...
Or heroic combat, I think.
Yeah, we call it heroic fight. It's heroic
in America,
combat.
we're all wrong.
Yeah, we do things stupid. But yeah, he could call heroic combat and just squish everything after the fight, and it's fantastic.
It's I think this is a fantastic addition as well. It's fight value boost. It's you wouldn't get his attacks, unfortunately, but because remember he's a driver, so you can't contribute. Now. That is the end of the chariot. No, I'm lying. You have the chariots.
Yeah, no, we're not done yet.
Like I said, I hope you're painting. Champions of Erebor. If this upgrade is taken, you now are crewed essentially by Balin, Dwalin, Philly, and Killy.
So good.
And they get all these exceptions to everything I just said.
Every single thing, they laugh at it. We ignore your rules.
Balin must always be the driver, and should he be slain, another dwarf takes his place. However, should all the dwarves on top be slain, the chariot is removed as a casualty. If the chariot is slain, then the dwarves instead take a Throne Rider test.
So they don't disappear, because normally if the chariot dies, everything on top dies.
Yes.
But these guys are just like, we're going to jump off.
Yeah. They're all smart.
All the rest didn't go to that class.
Hey guys, this feels broken.
We missed the memo. Can we just step off this thing? It's on fire.
So, essentially, you can't replace these guys, however. So as they start to die off, more Iron Hills dwarves cannot jump on.
Yes.
So
they have the special chariot. You have to be level 30 to stand on it.
Exactly. And the dwarves who ride this chariot have their usual war gear and special rules while riding the chariot, which is fantastic. The dwarves, Dwalin must always man the rapid-fire bolt thrower.
Remember what we said earlier about the bolt thrower. If it's fired, the driver or the firer can't add his attacks.
And that's 4 attacks you're missing.
Don't do that with Dwalin.
Yeah.
Do not do it.
So shoot when you're not in combat, otherwise don't shoot.
He's going to swing more times on average than that thing's going to fire, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's fine.
Plus he gets the burly hits and all that.
So good.
Now, actually, normally you wouldn't with the Iron Hills dwarves. So let me get to it. So here we go. Unlike other Iron Hills chariots, only Balin, Dwalin, and Killy and Philly may ride this chariot, as I've already mentioned. Magical powers may be directed at the dwarves individually, in which case they will resist and be affected individually with no impact to the others. Yep. So you will need to transfix all 4 of them.
Can you blow one of them? Well, I'll ask this in the end.
Alright, so in combat, the chariot is very unusual in that the duel can effectively have multiple models on both sides of the fight. When making a duel roll, make sure to roll each dwarf's attack separately for the purposes of using might points. Now that's key, guys. Normally, all the attacks are actually lumped into one.
Because they're all the same.
Yeah, but in this case, they actually attack individually, can use their own might, can use their own buffers, where normally that wouldn't be the case. So, if Killy or Philly use the Feint special rule, then the fight values of all the crew and the chariot itself are reduced by D3. I don't know why. They're just screwing it up for everybody.
So dumb.
They're just like...
so dumb.
I'm sure there was a reason that they wanted this.
I want to hear the reason. How does that guy doing a flashy thing with his sword change the way Dwalin is beating face?
Because we care about Philly, and we're telling you, Philly, stop it.
Stop it, Philly.
Stop
it.
And through that distraction, you hit me in the face.
The reason why it doesn't make sense is because of this next thing.
Yes. If Dwalin uses the Piercing Strike special rule, then only his strength and defense will be affected.
What?
So, here's the deal. I'm sure there's a reason behind this. This is probably one of the most play-tested models in this book, given that it has 2 pages of definitions and exceptions.
A lot.
So, the thing is, ultimately, it does make sense that Dwalin should only be affected by his Piercing Strike.
Yeah, because he's the only one that did it.
Here's the deal. You lose, just don't feint. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just say you can't feint. So, this version of the Chariot counts as 4 models for working out the points, working out break points. Huge. This means that if you are playing in most tournaments...
Which require
4 models. Yep. This is not, of course, for every single tournament in the world, but most of them abide by this. You can actually just play this thing and you're still good to go.
And it's gonna wreck face.
Pretty much. So, this Chariot counts as a hero for Erebor Reclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
That is key. Remember, Erebor Reclaimed cannot take chariots. This is the only way you can get it. And it may be your army leader. It may not, however, lead a war band. If the chariot is chosen as a leader for your army, then Balin is the leader for all intents and purposes. Which is appropriate. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not the choice I would have picked, but I guess... Yeah, I guess that's not bad.
Yeah. It's still good.
He's got 3 will, so he can resist stuff. So, yeah, guys, that is the Iron Hills Chariot. How do you take this thing down? One idea I kind of thought of is the new Mirkwood Spiders. You could paralyze the driver, and the whole thing would kind of just stall to a halt. Mm-hmm. Jake disagrees with that.
I don't necessarily disagree. So this is where our conundrum comes. Maybe you guys can give us a hand. So paralyzed. If the model's paralyzed, everyone in base contact can roll a dice to help them get back up. These guys share a base, essentially, so there's 4 people on one base.
Sort of like any horse and rider.
Yeah. So if Balin gets paralyzed and he falls over, would the other 3 be able to assist in getting him up since he's right here?
So this is where I say, no, unfortunately, rules as intended don't matter, although in some cases where it's game-breaking, it actually goes to rules as written. If the Tainted... followed, let's say that these guys could help each other up, then the Tainted must follow its own logic. In which case, the Tainted would kill his own horse because he keeps trying to wound it, since it's, right here. So, unfortunately, they're not in base contact. They are one base, and not yet, at the same time, not in base contact due to rules as written. So I said, paralyze the driver, and the thing just stops, and he's like, well, I can help him get it back up. And I'm like, no, you can't. And we'd like to know what you guys think.
Yeah,
so,
I'm really curious. The other thing I actually just thought of, could you Sorcerer's Blast one off of the Chariot?
No. They do not move. It actually covered that in the...
no, it said the Chariot can't be affected.
Yeah, see them. You see how it's referring to them as plural. Or knock them into the ground. The Sorcerer's Blast cannot knock the crew off the Chariot. This is the same as the Great Beast of Gorgrath.
I'm dumb.
It's the same as the Mummican Out. It's a very consistent ruling that GW makes. So... we are going to get into the last Iron Hills unit, is the Ballista. Now, once again, you guys have heard of this one before. It's already on the line, so I can actually say it is 90 points.
Wow, actually, I haven't looked at that. That's not bad.
Yep, 90 points is actually pretty good. Now, this thing, we're talking about, it's a Strength 8 Ballista. These are actually a little weaker than you would have imagined. Although the actual bolt it fires, I don't believe, is Strength 8. We'll get to that. So...
No.
Yep. So, Strength 8 is the strength of the actual weapon itself, I guess for purposes of Sorcerer's Blast. Then you have Defense 10 for wounds, so very solid, it's not going anywhere. You have the Iron Hill crew is just Iron Hills. once again, without shields. Then it can get a Dwarf Engineer Captain, which could be necessary. I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah.
Superior Construction, for those of you who really want to shoot across the board, and additional Dwarf Crew.
Superior Construction does what?
60-inch range. So.
Reach out and touch someone.
Yep. These are for the 6x4 boards. Most players don't tend to pick it, because most players tend to play on 4x4s.
Is there a limit on how many crew you get?
There is not, no. Oh, well, the Warband.
Oh, yeah, so. Okay.
I
buy 40 crew.
40 crew. We all want them, man.
Sorry.
When firing an Iron Hills Ballista, it's actually accurate, so it only scatters within 3 inches rather than 6.
Yep.
And it rerolls 1s. It's kind of random, actually, because the Wind Lance is accurate and it doesn't get to do that.
So dwarves just fire better.
Yep, pretty much. Bard needs to keep up. So
get Rex Scrub.
So then you can get this rule. This is pretty much why you field these things. The old Twirly Whirlies.
Love it. Love it.
Love that name. So the Iron Hills Ballista always counts as calling a heroic shoot. There is no need to spend any might. Additionally, the Ballista follows the rules for volley fire. So you can fire over the heads of your dwarves.
Yep.
Is essentially the intention there. When the Ballista hits its target, place a marker on the center of the target. Draw a line from the center of the Ballista to the center of the marker. Shooting attacks that are strength 6 or less cannot target any model within 3 inches of that line for the remainder of the turn. So what that means is you can actually effectively have your Ballista behind your 6-inch line squad and fire directly over them, and most of them should not be targeted at all. Assuming it doesn't kind of veer.
Yeah, maybe.
So, also, additionally, shooting attacks that are strength 6 or less cannot be made if they cross that line at any point. So you can't even go like the other way. It kind of makes this impenetrable just line that no arrow can even touch. Now, if it is strength 7 or more, then actually it only works, it only gets blocked on a 5-up. So you can potentially block a trebuchet shot.
Which is awesome, because that means dwarves are literally targeting a rock while it's flying through the air, and they're like, no.
That's Dwarven Engineering at its finest.
Good.
And if you see the Ballista crossbow we mentioned earlier, you will see this isn't even the most awesome thing they invent. So
sorry,
I just want a stake launcher for my dwarves. So next we have Tremendous Impact. If an Iron Hills dwarf scores a hit against a battlefield target, all man-sized models or smaller within 2 inches are knocked to the ground. Cavalry within 2 inches must take a Thrown Rider test. Additionally, any model within 2 inches also suffers a Strength 4 hit.
That's just devastating.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's essentially what you expect from like trebuchet shots.
Yeah.
Except trebuchets hit harder.
Yeah.
But overall, this thing, it's really the factor of the heroic shoot. The free heroic shoot is fantastic. I mean, the fact that you can just take down archers before they even get to shoot back at you is great. I actually love that.
Yeah, I guess you don't even have to shoot past your squad. You can just shoot at the enemy archers. Even like, yeah, and if they're right next to you, they can't shoot at all. That's
Yep. And so, how effective is this really? The real problem is not the weapon itself, but the army it is in. Most people don't really think having an anti-archer weapon with my anti-archer protecting my anti-archer troops is really all that effective. Dwarves don't care about arrows traditionally.
Oh, really?
And now they really don't care because they're defense 8. So
we lost 3 guys in the last battle to archers. All right, let's just fix that.
Yep.
We don't want to lose no more.
So this is where basically the Iron Hills dwarves say, you know what, Lake Town, because we took your children to bubble wrap our chariots, here's this giant anti-arrow machine. Jake didn't see that one coming.
We took your children. It's like this. Go. Just go. Give me a minute.
So essentially, this is probably a lot better of a weapon with Lake Town.
I was not prepared.
He wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. Oh, take that. I'm gonna drop it.
Oh, man.
I'm good. I'm back. I'm here.
So essentially, yeah, I think you're going to see this weapon allied in a lot. Or otherwise, the main important thing that a lot of people might mention is goat riders. You probably want to protect your goat riders, which actually, conveniently enough, is what they protected in the movie with these things. So
keep it themey.
Jay Clare did his job. He did a great job. Ultimately, we can say he did a lot for this book, and everything is fantastic.
He really did.
we, I think, are only going to cover the Iron Hills Dwarves for this video. We're going to keep you guys in suspense for all the other amazing things, unless there's something specific you want to cover. You know what? We will actually cover one more thing. I'll give you a little bit of a treat. In the end credits of the book, there are more dwarves.
Treats.
Guys, like I said, wait for the end credits. It's important. Marvel taught you this.
So, and if you didn't stay till the end of a Marvel movie, you're doing it wrong.
So for all of you who loved Thror, you get a new treat. He has been reduced in price, and everything else is pretty much the same.
Yep.
But reduced in price. No, not the same. Sorry, they fixed the defense.
Yeah, sorry.
It's now defense 9.
He got better for cheaper.
Exactly.
Oh, so good.
So, the Arkenstone still does things that I don't understand.
It doesn't do in the movie.
Yep, pretty much. I guess it gives longevity in this world, and which is fine. Hey, whatever, it does something. And he's still fearless. Everything's the same. He's just cheaper. Then we got Thrain. Oh, actually, speaking of which, I think Thorin lost Fate. We missed that. Thorin Oakenshield. He has 1 Fate, not 3. So I don't know if that was still the case.
No, he did have 3 but it's because he died.
No. Actually, he has 3-1-1.
Yeah,
or 3-3-1.
That's because it makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm saying the before profile, that's a change they made.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention it.
I think he had 3 Fate in the old profile, now he has 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention that though. So
his fault.
It is. So the Thrain model, also once again cheaper, didn't really change, which is fine. That's really all it needed. They needed to be just cheaper. Then they now have included profiles for young Thorin Oakenshield, young Balin, and young Dwalin. So those of you using the SPG magazine now have an official source of new rules. Young Thorin Oakenshield is a good point cost, a little cheaper than the Champions of Erebor version. He actually is kind of special in the fact that he's got 3-3-3 this time.
Yep,
Always
which is really good.
But he has this new rule, and he doesn't have many warrior options, I'll give it that. Just the Oakenshield.
Yep.
But other than that, once per game, when moving young Thorin Oakenshield, the controlling player may declare 2 arms. At the start of the following fight phase, all dwarves within 3 inches increase their strength by 1 for that turn. No, that phase.
Yeah.
That's pretty nifty. I mean, what I'm kind of thinking personally is an alliance here. I'm thinking of Iron Hills, not Iron Hills.
Durnsville.
Nope. Iron Guard.
Oh, well,
Iron Guard would generate the most effectiveness for
2 strength 5 attacks.
Yeah.
It's
not to mention a piercing strike if you really want to just be...
Yeah. I think Durnsville just has a lot of strength 3 anyway, so he would benefit a lot in that.
Yeah. And it's not uncommon to ally Erebor with with the Durnsfolk. So yeah, that's it. So he gets that nice little ability. Young Balin is actually kind of the same as the current Balin, except he has 2 attacks rather than 1, which is appropriate. He's younger. But otherwise, his abilities have not really changed. They did change in name.
Except the name.
Yeah, I'm really feeling like there's something different, but it may spend will to enable the side of
It's exactly the same. It's just...
They just changed the name.
Changed the name.
That kind of threw us off a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But then after that, you have young Dwalin. He's just 1 less might. Oh, no, he's got less fight value. So he's got less fight. Yeah. He loses Burly. He actually... he gets much weaker. So this is actually a cheaper version of everything, except he also gets this new rule called Dwarven Fury. Before rolling a duel, young Dwalin the Dwarf may choose to reduce his fight value by D3. If he does this, young Dwalin may reroll all failed rolls to wound in the following fight.
It's not bad.
This is an ability that I would obviously use. Now, see, the thing is he has fight 5 now, which means that most other captains and heroes around him are going to have the same fight. If you want to, just double team on a target, this would be an ability to use. It's not bad. Yeah. I'm actually okay with this.
He actually doesn't lose Burly, though. He just loses his 2-handed weapon.
You are correct. Yeah, actually, he keeps Burly in the form of another ability called Weapon Master. So, yeah.
But he just can't use it.
Exactly. He's never considered unarmed, though, so I guess now if he's shattered, he just...
I guess he's got those, spiky... I mean, he's got...
Oh, he does have knuckles. Yeah, brass knuckles.
Big giant knuckles.
That's right.
Which we have pictures of those, and those are just brutal looking.
I think they included that on... Yeah, you did. Yep.
Yeah.
So...
I can get you a picture of those if you want to show.
Yeah, it's like when he makes a fist, they extend
out. They're almost like mini, like Wolverine claws, almost. He clenches and he goes, shink.
So, after that, we have Dale. And this is really where we're going to end. So, these guys became amazing.
They really did.
They're actually a small mini faction that even I want to play. So Girion
has turned good.
He's actually gotten much
He's
better.
worth it now.
You may.
Oh, I guess I got. All right, so
the honors.
not gonna mention points, but he's good. He's got move 6, fight 5, 3 up shoot value, force, strength, d6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 6 courage. He's 3/2/1.
It's okay.
Not bad.
He dies in the movie, so
Makes sense. So heavy armor and a sword. He's the second model in the game that has second model that has
Second
the option
model. Yep.
for a great bow.
which is fantastic.
Which is really good. Although I never understood why Bjorn doesn't have a great bow.
They actually took Bjorn's bow away.
They did, but like in the old one, like he's like 10 feet tall and he's shooting toothpicks at you. Anyway, so you can get him a great bow. He can also buy a wind lance.
You can finally get it, gentlemen. He gets the weapon he had in the movie the whole time. Before his son had it.
Although
he finally gets it.
He doesn't have any black arrows.
Now, it doesn't actually define what the Windlance does in his profile. That's because it actually defines it in Bard. We'll give you the sneak peek preview now. Essentially, the Windlance is a Strength 10 bolt. It still is a siege weapon, however, it's now accurate. That's really about it. You can use your Might, Will, and Fate to affect it, which is fantastic if you have 3 points of Might. So would you give Girion a Windlance? Actually, yes. It's a nice little assassination weapon, I think. Just because he can use his Might to affect it. It's a one-man crude weapon. He, of course, can leave it. Ultimately, though, give him the Great Bow as well. Mostly because he has another special rule that you'd be completely wasting if you didn't have a bow. Is it Deadeye, where he gets to re-roll fails against flying models? No. Finally, an actual decent rule has been put in place. He gets Bard's Rapid Fire. So now we know where his son got it from.
Yep.
If you guys don't know what Rapid Fire is, that's when Bard's feeling good about himself, he gets to fire again.
Yeah.
Basically, if he successfully rolls to hit, then he can shoot again at another target within 3 inches of it or the original target, up to a max of 3 times.
He has to feel good about himself that if he misses, he gets a little bit depressed.
He's got to. It's like, if Bard's just messing it up for you and he fails that first hit, he's like, son.
I just think it's funny that you can put Bard and Girion in the same arm and be like, Dad, didn't you die? Didn't you die? Like
this is in the world when the dwarves weren't so greedy and didn't attract Smaug, and Father was showing him how to get things done. He was like, "With his son, yeah, buddy, yeah, buddy." He was showing him the ropes. So
yeah, a little bit.
Much better Girion, perfect for a Lord of Dale.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's real good, and he's a good point cost too. He's not too expensive.
Yeah, he's pretty decent. Nice mid-tier, I'd say. Then, Captain of Dale. This guy didn't change at all. Remained cheap, except one big thing. He now has
so good.
An Esgaroth bow. If you guys don't know what that is, look up an elf bow.
Because it's an elf bow.
Just call it an Esgaroth bow, though. But no, honestly, that's fantastic.
It really is.
Now, if that isn't enough foreshadowing for you, let's get to the Warriors of Dale. In which case, they are nice solid points, let's say, comparable to a Man of Gondor. Armor and a sword, everything you'd expect, except their bow has been replaced by
an Esgaroth bow.
Which, if you guys don't know what that is
an elf bow.
So, these guys are fantastic.
They really are.
They are representatives of how Dale should be. They are the archer kings of the North. I mean, the Dwarves actually frequently rely on it. And even more to the point, though, they have a 4 shoot value. You guys can see the profile yourselves in the books you guys currently carry because they haven't changed. However, if you only take a Dale force, they all jump to 3 shoot value.
So good.
With elf bows.
So good.
So, and by the way, because of the cheap captains, they can be spammed in quite a number. So, I think that these guys are much more appropriate of a force now at this point.
Although I don't know why the dwarves relied on them for shooting when Girion couldn't kill the dragon, but a dwarf with a ballista can shoot a rock out of the sky.
Well, so guys, that's the end of this episode.
Where's my Twix? I need
Anyway, we'll go ahead and cover Elves and Lake Town and Azog's Legion and
really good.
the return of Ambush to Lord of the Rings from War of the Ring. Yeah, it's my favorite thing that just came out of this book. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. And after Andreas tells you about it, we'll talk about it.
We might have actually found one more model that can actually auto-wound things.
Yes! Originally, the Goblin Prowler is the only thing that can auto-wound.
But we think we found another one.
There is effectively a new model that can auto-wound in this game.
And it's pretty cool.
Yep. So stay tuned, guys, and we will get back to you guys with another video on this book.